Becoming Shah. Called the Shah'Iy'anshah, the King of Kings. Revelations chapter 19 verse 16, and he has on his vesture his name which was also written on his thigh's name Iy'ELU. The Shah, and the King of Kings, and the Odd, and the King, whom is awed by all lords. Iy'ELU, the Odd One, is Shah'i, the first Shah, and the first king who was called by the title, Shah'Iy'anshah. Is Shah'i, whom is the Shah'Iy'anshah, the King of Kings. And in the beginning of the use of the title, Shah'Iy'anshah, was Iy'ELU, the Odd, whom was the first Shah, the first king. And Shah'i the word Odd, the Shah'Iy'anshah, was the King of Kings, and the Odd One whom was first king in the beginning, and Shah'i, was the first king of Is people. Even all the people who was in Is world. And even the king of the tribes of Israel. Shah'Iy'anshah. Friends, the ancient Persian word Shah'Iy'anshah historically was, the title for the king, whom is the King of Kings, and also, Shah'Iy'anshah, is most prominently associated with Cyrus the Great and Darius the Great and also a top figure, like Xerxes and Alexander the Great among other prominent Persian monarchs of the Achaemenid dynasty. The Achaemenid monarchy refers to the ruling dynasty of the very first Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great, spanning from Iran to Egypt and parts of India. But the world history of monarchy of the kings of Persia or Iran used today are known as the Ayatollahs and supreme leader. But the title Shah throughout the old Persia world history were equating their monarchy namely after the Iranians or the Elamites kingdoms to their ancestor Haksamanis. And they were defining that era to the Achaemenid dynasty. And for the elite Persian rulers whom were known for their styles of ruling and for their monumental kingdoms, and their kingdom architecture, and their world governance, and their government bureaucracies, and their military achievements. And the term Shah'Iy'anshah referred to the Shahs of Persia and Iran. And the Persian word meaning king. But the word, Shah'Iy'anshah is also known to be applied to Iy'ELU, whom is the sovereign Odd of all the heavens and the earth. And whom is the everlasting king, and the king, as the sovereign Odd of the heavens and the earth whom is known as the King of Kings. Friends, the Old Testament is filled with stories after stories about many of these Persian kings or Shahs. And it included many Persian rulers of the first Persian kingdom, like all those kings or Shahs from the Achaemenid dynasties which was known as the Old Persian Kingdom. And from all those who unified Persia in the 6th century and all those kings who created their vast intercontinental empire, as well as those kings and rulers of the succeeding dynasties throughout the world's history until the 21st century and the imperial house of Pahlavi. Furthermore, during the Ottoman rule their monarchy was mostly often referred to as a caliphate and their leaders were referred them as the caliphs, and the sultan but, in the Ottoman territory the rulers were mostly often referred to as the padishah. A padishah is a high-ranking title meaning master king, or great king, or emperor. But historically it was used by rulers of the Ottoman Empire, and in Persia, and the Mughal Empire of India. The name Padishah denotes a supreme sovereign and a ruler of a powerful state, which is often equivalent to the title of emperor. And also several other titles were being used. Such as the title Shah in their Tughras and their male offsprings received the title Sayyid, meaning a prince and, literally, the son of a king. And the female offspring of a Shah from Persian meaning the offspring of a king from Iran was called a Shahzada and also a princess. But the full title, Shah'Iy'anshah, was from the Achaemenid monarchy, and from the rulers of the old Persian kingdom, which was Shah'Iy'ah and Shah'Iy'anshah, which also literally meant the King of Kings, in Old Persian. And which was corresponding to the Shahs of the Middle Persia and modern Persian kingdom. And furthermore this title and phrase it was translated to meaning, Basileus, or Basileon, meaning King of Kings. And which was equivalent to the title Emperor. And later both terms were often shortened to form the word for a Shah and Basileus. But in the Eastern societies a Shah was often used as an imprecise rendering for a king. But for a long time, Europeans nations thought of their kings as a particular royal title rather than an imperial ones. Even though the monarchs of Europe and those in Persia regarded themselves also as the kings and emperors of the Persian Empire, but the Europeans later changed their opinion about this in the modern era. And when Persia was an ally of the Western powers eager to make the Ottoman Caliphate, they called them sultans instead of shahs. And many of them held this opinions, especially various Christians groups. And even many of the European monarchy they felt was different to that of the Ottoman Empire. And also they were different to other of the Eastern nations like those of China which used the term emperors. And also the Indian societies which had their imperial-styled monarchy and were also rendered like the Chinese and Indians and the Turkish and Persians and the Arabs whom had their caliphate and sultans and the Indians in their padishah. And the King Muhammad Reza Pahlavi was the last Shah, as the Iranian monarchy was abolished after the 1979 Iranian Revolution. But in the 20th century, the Shah of Persia, meaning the Republic of Iran, the Shah, Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, officially adopted the title the Shah'Iy'anshah, which, in Western languages, the name rendered him as the emperor. And also his wife as the Shahbanu, meaning the empress. Friends, in regards to the name and title Shah and Shah'Iy'anshah, all these titles truly only are attributed to Iy'ELU, whom is the first and the last king, and the King of Kings, the first and the last Shah'Iy'anshah, and whom is the eternal King, and whom is the everlasting King of all the heavens and the earth. Friends, is the Christ, and Christ is the King of all the heavens and the earth. And is also called Elu'hymn and Iy'ELU, and Iy'ELU is the odd and the odd one, and the sovereign one and the sovereign King, whom is coming back to establish his holy kingdom in his earth. And he would return to reign in all the wicked nations them that are in his world, and to vanquish Satan and to gather his elected people, and to establish his holy throne in his earth, and to live with his elected ones in his earth. Hallelujah. Shah. The King is coming. Friends. Shah. The Kings of Kings is coming. So let us all beginning to get ready. Thank you. To be continued. The end.